Let's move on to our third main topic today. And our third main topic today gets submitted to us by Angry Irish Benjamin, who writes, so, you may have noticed that Zack Snyder went after Forbes' reporter Scott Mendelson on Twitter for criticizing a leaked teaser of the Snyder Cut. I'm so sick of hearing about this Justice League thing, and I'm even sicker of Zack Snyder's weak excuses for why people react badly to his movies. How about you? All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yeah, I mean, look, this was obviously one of the big things going into DC fandom was the fact that we were going to get our first legitimate peek at what the Snyder Cut is going to be. Like, we're going to get our first real pick. I mean, Zack had sent out like some stills before and some concept stuff, but this was going to be our first actual look at what some of this new stuff was going to be. Here's the situation. And again, I talked about this on Open Mic yesterday, but obviously this is a significant topic for us to cover here. So there's a very, very good film journalist out there by the name of Scott Mendelson, who works with Forbes. So he's Forbes' guy. Now, the Suicide Squad, or sorry, the Justice League teaser did leak before it aired on DC Fandom. And Scott Mendelson is one of the guys who said it, who saw it, I should say. Scott Mendelson said, for those of you who don't know what the situation is, Scott Mendelson said the following. He said, so that trailer for the Snyder Cut of Justice League looks like the same movie. Lots of deleted scenes from the marketing campaign, but otherwise it looks like alternate takes of existing scenes. That's what Scott Mendelson said. Now, you may agree with his assessment. Frankly, I do, but I'll get to that in just a second. Or you may disagree with his assessment. I think, though, if you are rational and if you are objective, there's nothing particularly objective, or sorry, there's nothing necessarily mean. There's nothing incendiary. There's nothing like this was a guy who saw the piece. By the way, didn't spoil anything. Like, he did see it before it aired on DC Fandom, but he doesn't spoil anything about it. He doesn't say anything about it. He doesn't say anything overly mean or critical. He just said, I saw it, kind of looks like the same movie to me, with a few extra shots put in. I personally thought, whether you agree with that assessment or disagree, there was absolutely nothing wrong with what he said. It was even-handed. He was expressing his thought on it. There's nothing wrong with that. Zack Snyder didn't react so well to it, though. And Zack Snyder decided to hop on Twitter and say, you said you enjoyed the theatrical cut of Justice League, so you enjoy your Sunday morning cartoons, the way you enjoy your Sunday morning cartoons. Well, this is made for grown-ups. This is the same guy who put in, is she with you? I thought she was with you. Da-da-da-da-da-da. But whatever. So this is made for grown-ups. You're not the demographic. Also, cool of you to comment on a leaked teaser. Again, I want to point out that Scott didn't actually say anything about the leaked teaser. He didn't give anything away, nor did he say, and I got to say, look, Zack needs to, when it comes to reacting to criticism about films, look, it's part of the gig. If you're going to make movies and put out movies, then it's going to be the job of some other people to give their commentary and their thoughts and their opinions on your movies. And you just got to accept that and deal with that. And you just need to grow up a bit and deal with that. Now, I understand the irony is not lost on me that the guy who's just saying, I peed my pants because Ben Affleck is back as Batman. Believe me, the irony is not lost on me that I'm the guy who's saying that. But still, nonetheless, I think he's just going to have to accept that and not react like that, because guess what? He's going to spend 24/7 for the next 2 years doing nothing but getting in Twitter fights with people who dare criticize or say anything less than perfect about what his thing is. That being said, do I agree with Scott Mendelson when he says that, hey, to me, this basically felt like the same thing, just with some deleted scenes? Yeah, I do, as a matter of fact. I do agree with him. It kind of does. But I would also ask Scott Mendelson and everybody else who was online saying it just kind of felt like the same thing. I would ask this. What the hell were you expecting? This Zack Snyder Justice League thing isn't coming out for another freaking year. It's like a year away. What were you expecting? You think the very first thing that they're going to show, like the very first little teaser that they're giving a year ahead of time, is going to be a 20-minute long full thing of all the biggest and craziest shots that weren't in the theatrical version? Do you think that's what they're going to put into the very first teaser? Of course not. That would be idiotic for them to do. Now, look, I said this before too. If DC fandom had happened, say, 3 months before the Zack Snyder Justice League cut was supposed to come out on HBO, if DC fandom was 3 months before that, then the teaser that they showed would have been completely different. And I guarantee you, as we get closer to when this is actually going to air on HBO Max, as we actually get closer, we are going to start to see more and more things. But I am telling you right now that for a first look at something that is a year away, what Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers and HBO Max put together in this little teaser was exactly what it should have been and exactly what it needed to be. This is the first look. So this little teaser says to the audience, hey guys, this is Justice League. You saw this is Justice League. But it's not the same Justice League. Look, there's Iris West. Look, there's Darkseid. It was, I don't like using the word perfect, but it was perfect. For again, do not let the context elude you here. The context is, it is our first time getting a peek, and it is for something that's not coming out for a year. You want them to give everything away in the first thing? You want them to come out and just make it look like it's something completely different and show all the biggest shots that nobody knew were in there. What Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers put together in this first teaser was exactly what a first teaser should have been. A reminder of what it is and a reminder of how it's the same, but also a stark reminder of how it's going to be different. And just in little doses. And I thought the message was clear. To me, watching that thing, I thought the message was, this is Justice League. But it's a different Justice League. That's the message they needed to convey. That's the message that this teaser trailer conveyed. So again, I agree. It felt like Justice League with some different shots. But that's what the hell were we expecting? That's exactly what it should have been. And look, I am not afraid to criticize Warner Brothers for PR moves and things like that. Everybody knows I have no problem criticizing for this. But what they put together, in my opinion, for a first look, a year in advance of this Snyder Cut thing, it was perfection. It was exactly what it should have been. And so I agree. It kind of looks like that movie. But that's irrelevant because that's exactly what it should look like. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it. Rob, you and I have not had a chance to talk about the Snyder Cut trailer that we've seen. We've talked about other things offline, but we haven't talked about this. You hear some people saying it looks a little bit like the other thing. You're saying maybe they expected to see more of this. I don't know. What were your overall impressions of this Justice League Snyder Cut teaser?
The first thing I want to talk about Scott Mendelson just for a minute. He reviewed as a journalist who I have a love-hate relationship with what he writes, but I respect him and I read most of what he writes about covering the film industry. I think Zack Snyder's first initial he reviewed a leaked trailer. He reviewed something that was dumped online early before the actual premiere of this trailer, and I think one of the things that really incensed Zack Snyder is that by doing that, it's your tacit approval of people who steal promotional materials and put it out there first. Now, I watched that trailer too and took 2 frame grabs from it before it had been released and used it in the thumbnail of my YouTube show. But, that's a different thing. I'm not a well-respected journalist with Forbes doing these things. So I think part of Zack Snyder's reaction to it was that it was leaked and it wasn't shown in its best form. And then Scott Mendelson was jumping jumping the gun. And I don't think Zack Snyder, because look, he's suffered a lot of slings and arrows and he doesn't just go after every single critic, and you can't do that. So I don't think Zack Snyder's going to chase anyone. I think it was this particular instance. It's like, look, man, I've come this far. Why do you have to rob the fans of this and offer your opinion before everyone else had seen it. I think if he said the same thing after the trailer had debuted at Fandom, he wouldn't have cared. That said, I think exactly what you think about the trailer. To an uninitiated observer and to a casual fan, it's like, well, it looks like Justice League. But if you know the material, as you pointed out, Iris West being saved. There's that great shot with the car, the Die Hard, Live Free or Die Hard shot, when the car flips over her and the Flash runs out. If you know the movie, you get to see Ray Fisher playing football in the stands. You get to see Superman in the black suit. You get to see these effect shots that we haven't seen any before. You see Darkseid. And what it says to me, all of those shots, if you're an astute viewer that understands the movie, shows that there's a lot more story that you didn't get. And while, oh yeah, it looks like Justice League, well, none of those shots really were the same. It's all story beats that we haven't seen before. And that's why I thought the trailer was it did exactly what it was supposed to do. You said the trailer was perfect. I would say that, wow, it got me excited as a lifelong Justice League fan, because I'm like, these are all story threads that weren't in Joss Whedon's Justice League. These are all unique story threads that you're only going to see in this new 4-hour version. And you'd have to really understand the movie. And that trailer was made specifically, I mean, on one hand, yeah, it looks cool for the layperson. But if you've supported the Snyder Cut and you've really wanted to see this version, this was like the ultimate. I mean, this was an orgasm-inducing trailer, if I do say so myself. I loved it.
Yeah. And again, I don't want to, I'm not saying that it is a perfect trailer, period. I just think when you understand, and I think it's important because I get it. We as fans always want more. Like we always want more.
It was almost 3 minutes.
Yeah. But we also got to understand that there is an art to this. There is a pace they have to take. They don't want to start dropping too much too early. And I thought, and I know I'm putting a bit of an asterisk beside this, but still, when you consider it's the first look, it's a year away. By the way, I think everybody should just be happy that they showed anything, because today you don't show things a year in advance generally, but this thing's a year away. You've got to start the process of just bringing people in. And I think when you understand all that, the nuances of it, and I know Zack was very involved in putting this trailer together. What Zack and Warner Brothers did, I thought, was not just a masterclass in taking great shots and throwing them into a trailer. It was a masterclass of understanding your audience. It was a masterclass in understanding your circumstances. It was a masterclass in understanding pacing and building to something a little bit later. You don't want to get everybody, because remember what happened with Godzilla, King of the Monsters? Remember that? Like, they dropped the trailer, like this full, like, blitz, media blitz a year before the movie came out. And by the time the movie did come out, like a year later, it's like, oh, that movie still hasn't come out yet? It's just coming out now? It's like everybody was almost exhausted and fatigued before the movie even came. I think Snyder recognized that. I think Warner Brothers understood that. And I think, seriously, the level of sophistication, because Rob, you know, I've been kind of immersed in trailers lately because of the project I'm working on.
No.
Yeah. So, but the level of sophistication, I think, that went into this trailer, I honestly don't think there is a single thing that could have been done better. I honestly think it was, for the circumstances, it was absolute perfection. And for everybody who's jonesing to see more, you'll see more in time. And then they'll put out at the right time the next little bit. And they're going to build us up so we crescendo with this thing coming out on HBO Max, instead of us being exhausted by it by the time it comes out on HBO Max. Well, and I think they're handling it perfectly.
I do too. And remember, Zack Snyder finally came out and said what form we're going to see this. It's 4-hour-long segments.
Rich, which is what we suspected.
So this is like a double length. You're getting twice as much movie. That's a lot of movie. That's a lot of stuff we haven't seen before. It's not like it's a director's cut with 5 minutes or 10 minutes. This is a second film. This is like the movie had a baby, and it's a whole nother movie. So that's exciting.
Yeah. So again, like, personally, guys, I think there isn't a single way I can even think of that this could have been handled better. I really don't. I thought it looked great, but there's more to come. Guys, what did you think about the whole thing? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys.